Dear audience, welcome to the show POWERchat. In today's episode, we will be discussing about the media freedom issues around the globe with particular focus in South Asia and Nepal. Joining me today is Mr. Anthony Bellanger, Secretary General of International Federation of Journalists. Please allow me to welcome him. Welcome to the show, Mr. Bellanger. How have you been?
Fine. I'm arrived in a few days, and it's okay.
To attend a meeting of IFJ here, right?
Yes, of course. I attend the meeting of IFJ, or the Asia Pacific meeting in Kathmandu.
Well, Mr. Bellanger, IFJ works around the world for the freedom of the press.
Yeah.
And you are also working in Nepal through your network.
Yeah.
What is your impression over Nepal's media fraternity, the growth of media entities with reference to freedom of expression and media safety?
It's difficult to have a precise situation, to know the situation precisely, but in your region, I think it's the most quiet, one of the most quiet in the South Asia, because in your region you have Pakistan, you have Afghanistan, you have India, of course, and Sri Lanka, and we as you know, we know violence in this part, and I think the freedom of press of freedom, I don't know, exists, but I knew this week you have here a journalist in jail, and for me, you have not. It's not possible to take in jail the journalist, and for this reason, I'm not sure if you are really press freedom in Nepal. I'm not sure.
How does IFJ monitor the global media rights violations? And also, could you shed light on the working modalities of IFJ, its partnerships, its working modalities, its associations with the national or international organizations?
Yes, we worked every day with the other international organizations, like UNESCO, international. IFJ is an associate member in UNESCO. We work, of course, with the United Nations and with ILO, with the International Labour Organization. And it's very important for us because it's the basis of our profession in the world. We work, of course, with ITUC, International Trade Union Confederation. The headquarters is in Brussels also. And because the journalists are workers, and it's necessary to have a strategy, a global strategy for all the workers, not only for the journalists, for all the workers. And also we work with the NGO, but we are the first global organization for journalists in the world. And that's right. Sometimes NGO can work with us.
How do you work with the organizations? How do you work with the state agencies?
State agencies?
State agencies or NGOs, and how do you report the media rights violations so that perpetrators are punished and victims are provided with the justice, especially that of the media rights violations?
It's the second question about the second. We work every day with them, but with UNESCO, for example, when they ask government about impunity, about child journalists, we have many relationships with their headquarters in Paris, and we publish regularly public reports and press releases in common with them, because we are associate member and we are the most global and the global voice for the journalists in the world. It's the same in ILO. In ILO, I will go in ILO in Geneva in January, and I will discuss and will negotiate with the editors and with the governments for all the people, all the journalists in the world. And we have also many reports every year about the situation of journalists in such countries, and but it's a daily work with this colleague, because we don't work alone and they don't work without us.
Well, you work with many United Nations instruments, including that of UNESCO and ILO and other instruments. Do you think that the reports or working modality of your organization, IFJ, with these institutions making change so that the global media rights violation rate is decreased and an environment is conducive for media workers?
Yes, year after year, it's difficult for the profession. Every year we publish our kill list, and every year you have an analysis. It's worst year after year, and for us it's and for UNESCO and for UN, they are optimistic. I'm not optimistic because I saw my colleagues every day on the ground. We have affiliates in 140 countries in the world, and most of these countries, it's difficult for most of these countries because the press freedom doesn't exist, or it's difficult to have free speech in these countries.
You mean at the global level?
Yes, I am
such
in
press
global.
freedom does not exist. What are the major challenges to press freedom globally, in your observation?
Globally, when I am a French journalist, and for me it's very necessary to be stand up for all my colleagues, because I'm free journalist. It's not the case for many colleagues. I have an example in Turkey, for example. Today you have 140 journalists in jail, and we have to stand up. We have to stride for them. We have to stay strong for them, because if we decide to stop, it's finished for them. Globally, it's not. We have not a good sounds from Africa, from Middle East, from Asia and South Asia, in particular. The example of Turkey. Turkey is the most important prison in the world for journalists. The most important, and we need to be here for them, for you, for everybody.
So your work is gradually making some change.
Yeah,
Let's be optimistic.
Of course, yes.
Well, IFJ also works to minimize or combat the impunity prevailing in the issues concerning media freedom. And when it comes to the reference of Nepal or the context of Nepal, there were altogether 35 journalists killed, 4 journalists are still missing. And impunity remains the major concern of the media rights organization, including Federation of Nepali Journalists, your partner here in Nepal. So how can the effect or the existence of impunity be minimized so that each and every journalist feels safe working with their media outlets and there is no fear of self-censorship? How can impunity be ended in your observation?
Impunity for us is the gangrene of the profession, for the profession. It's our main campaign every year, the impunity campaign every November, during from the 2nd of November to the 23rd of November. We have
the commemoration of the day on November 2nd. That is a special reference to killing of French journalists.
Yes,
right?
the 2nd commemorates the death of the 2 journalists killed French journalists killed in Mali in 2013, and they worked for RFI, the radio in France, the French radio. And the 23rd, of course, you know, it's the Ampatuan massacre. And between these 2 dates, we have special campaigns with our affiliates in the world, because we are 3 regional offices, headquartered in Brussels, but we have Sydney, Dakar, and Buenos Aires. And with them, with this staff, these affiliates, we have a strong campaign for to try to end impunity, because it's a gangrene. And if you continue to have killed journalists without investigation, without justice, it's an example for the killers of journalists. And I know it exists 2 resolutions, UN resolutions, 1722 and 2222. Resolutions exist, it's okay, but it's too difficult, I think, for UN to implement this resolution. And with IFJ and with a global organization from the profession, ITUC particularly, we are thinking currently to a special mechanism about to end impunity. It's not we are not magicians, and I hope in a few months we can give you to the world our ideas, our thinking. Of course, we will try. We will work with UNESCO as part of the press freedom, and we will work also with UN, United Nations, because
raised important issue that the journalists have pen. They have pen to write against the wrongdoings. You know. And you also mentioned that of the UN resolution and other UN instruments, 2 countries across the world, that of the United Nations members, are working in this line, establishing national mechanisms that could. There were a few attempts in Nepal, but the idea of establishing a mechanism could not be materialized. What is your experience around the world? Are there any mechanisms that exist to protect journalists?
Yes. We are worked with Arab world and Middle East, and we have a special mechanism in this region, and we engaged the government in this. It's a text, very short text, very precise, and for the moment we have the signature of Palestinian Mahmoud Abbas on this text, Tunisia, President of Tunisia. Morocco, Jordan, and we hope Sudan, very, I think, before the end of the year, and Egypt also at the beginning of the next year. And mechanism exists, and we have to engage all the governments, because if the governments are not engaged, they do anything, because they have many problems. I understand. We are not in France, but or in Europe, and the government, the organization of the state is very difficult in many countries, and for them we have to. It's a very long work, I think, and but it's necessary to have a global organization, global mechanism, because we have also a local mechanism. IFJ organize every week trainings for the journalists about security, about safety, protection of sources. And I think, and in IFJ we think, we have 2 levels. One global, with UN, with UNESCO, and one local, with our union and the local journalists, because it's essentially, it's local journalists who are killed every day. Two journalists by week are killed in the world.
Well, and there are many media organizations in this region, South Asia or Southeast Asia, especially in Nepal. There is a study conducted by UNESCO Paris. Study shows that many media organizations here in Nepal, they are seeking subsidies with the government. But the journalists are not benefited with the subsidies sought or the benefits made by the organizations. 50% of the total journalists here in Nepal, they are working without appointment letters. In this reference or in this context, what is IFJ's stand or your experience? Are subsidies to media houses by government justified? How does it affect the press freedom issues?
Of course. No, for me it's not possible, because we have the same mechanism in France. Since 1945, just after the Second World War, but it was to engage the editors in the line, in the social line, and to have a real pluralism in the press. But if you told me journalists haven't minimum wages, minimum health, it's not possible. If you receive money from government, you have to share this money with the salaries. That's right.
Even if they are not provided with the subsidies, it is the responsibility, duty of media companies to provide
Of course.
with salaries or benefits
Absolutely.
to their staff and journalists.
If you don't respect the minimum, social wages, minimum wages, minimum in health, you don't have. You have not to have. You
can't fulfill with media cannot fulfill with
of
their
course.
responsibilities.
Yeah. And the government is responsible, of course.
Well, gender sensitivity is one of the crucial issues coming in and around when we talk about the media safety or engagement of the women in media content or participation. One of the studies carried out by your organization in Nepal, IFJ study in 2015, states that the top level management of most media organizations here in Nepal have men as the editor-in-chief or the editorial bosses. The roles of women in media outlets here in Nepal are confined to lower level positions. Where does Nepal need to invest or rework to promote gender sensitive media, both in terms of the content and participation, so that women lead the media newsrooms?
You are right. We have many works to do in this part, and in Kathmandu during this week with IFJ meeting, we had 2 days especially about gender, and around the table we had every wife, every females. I was, I think, the only male. And I think it's necessary to continue in this way, because it's the same, and it's an important issue for IFJ to have a gender equality, but it's not enough. It's not enough. We have to do more and more, and of course we have to fight for them, because it's the same. It's not it's the case in Nepal or South Asia, but it's the same in Europe. It's the legal. The same wages. It's not a rules, and we fight every day for that. And just one for your information, when we have a special meeting, we ask now to our affiliates to send us minimum one female, one male, to have a gender equality.
Right.
But to be honest, during the Congress we have not. Gender equality.
Well, IFJ works to compensate or support the families of murdered journalists as well. And I was referring to a study, there were altogether 35 journalists killed for missing. What should be done to support or compensate the families of the murdered journalists so that they are provided with the justice?
Yes, we support.
What should state agencies or state authorities do so that they are compensated?
IFJ supports the families. We have a special fund for that. It's called Safety Fund, and we have all the information on our website. And when a family of a colleague killed, when the family asks us little support, financial support, we receive an application, and quickly we send the money. We have an important fund in Brussels, and I personally manage this fund. I think it's important because when you are a journalist killed, you have behind a family, a wife, or a husband, and children, and they need our support, because the colleagues killed, they were killed often because they were journalists, and for this reason, only for this reason, we have to support them, and it's for this reason we distribute around 80,000 euros per year to these families. It is an urgent fund. If someone needs surgery, urgent surgery after a bullet during the war, we can help us, or we can help them. But it's the same for the colleagues who needs legal advice,
legal support.
Legal support. We can help them about that. but I know here in Nepal it exists a fund, a special fund for your colleague killed during the civil war, and I met yesterday.
Families of the
families
victims,
and the children, and they are totally supported by this fund, the special fund from Nepal, and it would be great because it would be very, very great because this family needs the solidarity, the international solidarity, and the solidarity of the profession.
Well, could you highlight on your partnership modalities? Who can be your members at the local levels, NGO or civil society organization or federations or any institutions? Who can you collaborate with for the cause of minimizing the effects of, press freedom violations or combating with the media rights violations issues?
To be a member of IFJ is very simple. You are a journalist and you can be a member of IFJ through our national affiliate. And our affiliate are unions or association of journalists. And we have also, currently we have 180 affiliates in the world.
Across the world?
Yeah, and for the 180,000. 180 unions and we have 600,000 members in the world. And you have to be a member of our union or of our association, because in countries, in Afghanistan, for example, there are association, but they have they are not officially a union.
So, Bellanger, we are coming to the end of the show. Do you have anything to say to our audience?
Just a word. I would like to thank you for your invitation and for your welcome, because it's the first time for me here, and I think I will keep good memories.
Thank you very much. The audience, time now to wrap up the show. Keep watching us. See you next week. Namaste.